Welcome to Beyond Vision Mindset. In today's video, we're diving deep into a topic that can transform the way you approach relationships. Stoicism isn't just about building inner strength to face life's challenges, it also provides profound wisdom on how to build deep, meaningful relationships. The Stoics believed in mastering ourselves first, and only then could we fully engage with others in a healthy and balanced way. Relationships aren't about avoiding challenges, they're about how you respond to them. So, in this video, we'll explore how Stoics find and build lasting, deep connections based on principles like emotional control, virtue, respect, and clear communication. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset for more empowering content on personal growth, stoicism, and practical wisdom to help you build better relationships. Let's begin. Cultivate emotional control. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot control everything that happens in life, but we can control how we respond to it. This is particularly important when it comes to relationships. Emotional control is the cornerstone of any lasting connection because how we respond to emotions, whether our own or others, directly impacts the health of our relationships. Understanding the power of emotional mastery. The Stoics teach that emotions themselves aren't inherently bad, they are natural, human responses to situations. What matters is how we respond to those emotions. For example, when someone says something hurtful, we can choose to let anger or frustration control our actions. Alternatively, we can take a moment to reflect, consider the situation rationally, and choose a measured response. This allows us to protect our peace and avoid reactive behavior that could harm the relationship. When we approach emotions with the understanding that we have the power to control them, we stop being controlled by external events. This emotional mastery helps us remain composed, regardless of what's happening around us, which ultimately strengthens the bond between us and our loved ones. Practical application. Respond, don't react. When you're in a heated conversation or facing a disagreement with someone, it's natural for emotions to rise. The Stoic response, however, is to pause. Before you speak or act, take a deep breath, reflect on your values, and consider the bigger picture. Instead of letting your emotions dictate your actions, use them as a guide to assess the situation more clearly. This moment of reflection creates a space between stimulus and response, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This approach doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. Rather, it's about understanding and managing your emotions, which enables you to show up more authentically in your relationships. When your emotional responses are grounded and thoughtful, they create an environment where mutual respect thrives. Avoiding emotional manipulation. A critical aspect of emotional control is the ability to avoid emotional manipulation. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, can sometimes involve toxic behaviors such as gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or emotional blackmail. Stoicism teaches us to stand firm in our sense of self and to not allow the emotions of others to dictate our actions. By cultivating emotional intelligence and self-awareness, we are better equipped to spot these manipulative behaviors and protect ourselves from them. This doesn't mean becoming cold or distant, but rather developing the clarity to see when someone is trying to manipulate our emotions. When you practice emotional control, you are empowered to maintain your integrity and peace, no matter the situation. Maintaining inner peace. Inner peace is essential for building strong relationships, and emotional control is the key to maintaining it. Stoicism teaches us that our inner state should not be subject to external circumstances. Whether you are in a heated argument, feeling misunderstood, or facing challenges in your relationship, maintaining peace within yourself is essential. When we practice emotional control, we are less likely to be affected by the small, momentary stresses of life. Instead of letting those stresses accumulate and weigh us down, we let them pass without disturbing our equilibrium. This inner peace not only helps us respond better to our partners but also sets the tone for how we interact with them. A peaceful demeanor invites calmness and mutual understanding, which is crucial for long-term connection. Emotional resilience in relationships. Emotional resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks and challenges without losing our sense of balance. In relationships, emotional resilience means handling conflict or disappointment with grace and clarity. It's natural to face obstacles, whether it's a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, or a more significant challenge, but it's how we respond to those obstacles that defines the relationship. The Stoics teach us that challenges are an opportunity for growth. Rather than seeing difficulties as threats, we can view them as opportunities to practice patience, empathy, and understanding. When both people in a relationship cultivate emotional resilience, they can navigate challenges together, emerging stronger and more united in the process. The benefit of emotional control in building trust. Emotional control fosters trust because it shows that you are dependable, consistent, and able to remain composed in difficult situations. When you respond with emotional intelligence rather than reacting impulsively, you demonstrate that you are a stable, reliable partner. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and emotional control is a direct contributor to building that trust. When you remain emotionally steady, even in the face of adversity, you signal to your partner that they can rely on you, that you won't be easily shaken or controlled by circumstances. This creates a safe space in the relationship, where both partners feel comfortable and secure. Trust is built over time, and emotional control is one of the most effective ways to nurture it. Set healthy boundaries. In Stoic philosophy, self-respect and virtue are at the core of personal growth and interactions with others. One essential practice that supports both is the ability to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about creating walls or distancing ourselves from others, but rather about creating a space where mutual respect and healthy interaction can thrive. Without clear boundaries, relationships often become strained, with individuals feeling overextended, overwhelmed, or disrespected. The Stoic understanding of boundaries. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of integrity and virtue in every aspect of life. Integrity, which is grounded in self-respect, demands that we set clear boundaries in relationships. When you set boundaries, you are essentially saying, "I value myself enough to ensure my needs and well-being are respected." The Stoics would argue that we are in control of how we allow others to treat us, and this control is crucial for maintaining healthy, fulfilling relationships. In a Stoic sense, boundaries help maintain emotional clarity and preserve the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. When we don't set boundaries, we risk losing sight of our values and becoming enmeshed in situations that are emotionally draining or even toxic. This lack of boundaries can lead to resentment, burnout, and imbalance in relationships. The importance of saying no. Saying no is one of the most powerful tools for maintaining healthy boundaries. The Stoics teach that we should not be at the mercy of external circumstances or the desires of others. In relationships, the ability to say no with respect and grace is an act of self-respect and an essential part of emotional health. It's important to remember that saying no doesn't mean rejecting or devaluing the other person. It simply means protecting your own well-being and prioritizing what aligns with your values. When you learn to say no, you create a space in which the other person can also respect your needs. A healthy relationship should involve give and take, but it should never demand that one person consistently overextends themselves or sacrifices their well-being. By setting clear, firm boundaries, you ensure that both people in the relationship can thrive individually and together. Healthy boundaries encourage mutual respect. Setting boundaries doesn't just protect you, it encourages respect from others. When you establish boundaries, you're teaching others how to treat you. Stoicism is about cultivating self-respect, and this is mirrored in how others respect you. People who genuinely care about you will respect the boundaries you set because they understand that respecting your boundaries is an act of kindness, not control. Furthermore, boundaries aren't only about protecting yourself from harmful behaviors. They are about creating an environment where both people can express themselves authentically without fear of judgment or rejection. Healthy boundaries allow space for both partners to be their true selves, fostering deeper trust and connection. The balance between intimacy and independence. One of the key principles in Stoicism is self-sufficiency, the idea that we should be able to stand on our own and rely on our inner strength. In relationships, this means that setting boundaries allows for both intimacy and independence. While intimacy is essential for deep connection, independence is necessary for maintaining personal integrity and growth. Too often, we see relationships where one partner becomes overly dependent on the other, creating an unhealthy dynamic. When this happens, the relationship can lose its balance, with one person feeling overwhelmed and the other feeling restricted. Stoicism teaches that we must strive for balance. We should invest in deep, meaningful connections while also maintaining our individuality and autonomy. Setting boundaries is the key to this balance. By knowing when to step back, when to give space, and when to step forward, you create a healthy rhythm in the relationship. Both partners are free to pursue their own passions, goals, and growth, while still nurturing their connection and supporting each other. Setting boundaries with compassion and clarity. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh, cold, or distant. It's about clarity and compassion. The Stoics advocate for living virtuously, and part of that virtue is being kind and considerate in our interactions with others. When setting boundaries, it's important to communicate them clearly and respectfully, without guilt or shame. For example, if you need time alone to recharge, it's perfectly valid to say, "I need some time to myself to rest and reflect. It's not about you, it's about my need for personal space." By expressing your needs in a compassionate, non-accusatory way, you make it clear that your boundaries are about protecting your own well-being, not about rejecting the other person. Boundaries as a reflection of self-worth. Ultimately, the boundaries you set are a reflection of your self-worth. The Stoics teach us that our value doesn't depend on the opinions of others, but on our alignment with virtue and the principles we uphold. When you set boundaries, you are showing that you value yourself and your needs. You are sending a message that you believe you deserve respect, care, and space to grow, which is an important part of nurturing both yourself and your relationships. The stronger your sense of self-worth, the more easily you can set and enforce healthy boundaries. By embodying this self-respect, you create relationships built on mutual respect, where both people understand the importance of maintaining their individual integrity while supporting each other's growth. Practice detachment from outcomes. One of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the concept of detachment from the outcome. This principle encourages us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our reactions, and our choices, while letting go of attachment to the results. In relationships, this concept is transformative. It allows us to engage more deeply, with less fear and expectation, and to build connections that are rooted in the present moment, rather than in an imagined future. Understanding detachment. What it means and why it matters. Detachment doesn't mean being indifferent or emotionally unavailable. It's not about withdrawing from the world or relationships, but rather understanding the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. In relationships, this means recognizing that we cannot control how others feel, act, or respond. All we can control is how we show up. The Stoic approach teaches that we should invest in the process of the relationship rather than obsess over specific outcomes or expectations. For example, in a romantic relationship, you may wish for your partner to behave in a certain way or respond to your actions with a particular emotion. However, the Stoic approach is to focus on your own actions, your kindness, understanding, and respect, while accepting that you cannot control how your partner responds. This shift allows you to be free of unrealistic expectations and fosters a relationship built on mutual respect and genuine connection. Detachment from outcomes eases the fear of rejection. In modern dating and relationships, fear of rejection is a common challenge. We often worry about how our partner will respond to us. Will they love us back? Will they accept us? Will they stay? This anxiety stems from an attachment to the outcome, which is outside our control. Stoicism encourages us to focus on the virtue of being ourselves, offering our best selves to the relationship, and letting go of the need for validation. By practicing detachment, we free ourselves from the fear of rejection. When you stop tying your sense of self-worth to another person's actions or feelings, you become more confident and grounded in who you are. You are no longer dependent on external validation, which creates the freedom to form deeper, more authentic connections. Detachment helps you remain resilient in the face of setbacks, whether it's a breakup, a miscommunication, or an unreciprocated interest.
Your self-worth remains intact because it is rooted in your inner values, not external outcomes.
The power of present moment engagement. Detachment allows you to be fully present in the relationship. By releasing the pressure of future expectations, you can focus on the here and now. Stoicism teaches us that the present moment is all we truly have, and this mindset applies beautifully to relationships. When we engage fully with our partner, without worrying about what will happen next, we create deeper bonds based on authenticity. In practice, this means giving your partner your full attention when you're together, listening deeply without distractions, and responding thoughtfully, not impulsively. By removing the anxiety about where the relationship will go or what it will become, you create space for genuine connection and mutual enjoyment of each other's company. Embracing impermanence. Stoics teach us to accept the impermanence of life. All things, including relationships, are temporary. People change, circumstances evolve, and sometimes relationships end. While this can feel uncomfortable, embracing impermanence allows us to appreciate the present moment even more. In relationships, when we stop clinging to an idealized future or fearing the inevitable changes that may come, we learn to savor the time we have together. Detachment from outcomes teaches us to value the relationship for what it is, rather than for what it could become. It frees us from the pressure to make things work at all costs and instead encourages us to approach the relationship with a spirit of gratitude for the connection as it is, without forcing a particular outcome. Detachment helps you handle conflicts with grace. Conflicts are inevitable in any relationship. However, when you practice detachment, you are better able to handle disagreements without letting them escalate into emotional battles. Stoicism encourages us to view conflict through the lens of rationality and emotional control. Instead of reacting to the situation with frustration or defensiveness, detachment allows you to approach the conflict with a clear, calm mind. When you detach from the desire to win an argument or prove a point, you focus more on understanding your partner's perspective and finding a resolution that works for both of you. This mindset helps reduce the emotional charge that often makes conflicts more difficult, allowing you to navigate challenges in the relationship with wisdom and grace. Cultivating patience and trust in the process. Stoicism teaches us to have patience, not only with ourselves but with others and with the unfolding of life itself. Relationships take time to develop and grow. The Stoic approach is to trust the process rather than rush or force outcomes. This means being patient with your partner's growth, with the pace of the relationship, and with any challenges that arise. Trusting the process means letting go of the need to control every aspect of the relationship. It's about having faith that by embodying your values, such as virtue, respect, and kindness, the relationship will evolve in its own time. Detachment teaches you to allow things to unfold naturally, without grasping for results, and this mindset cultivates patience and deep trust in the relationship. By practicing detachment from outcomes, we learn to embrace the ebb and flow of relationships with resilience and acceptance. This approach frees us from the anxiety of expecting a specific result, allowing us to engage fully and authentically in the process. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that it is not the outcome of the relationship that matters, but how we show up in it, live in it, and grow from it. By letting go of attachment to outcomes, we create space for deeper connections and lasting peace. Cultivate emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to remain calm, grounded, and clear-headed in the face of adversity. It is the foundation of a Stoic approach to relationships, where we focus on responding with reason and virtue, rather than reacting emotionally or impulsively. Relationships, by their nature, bring challenges and moments of stress. Whether it's a misunderstanding, a difference of opinion, or external pressures affecting the connection, emotional resilience enables us to navigate these difficulties with strength and grace. The Stoic view on emotions. In Stoicism, emotions are seen as natural responses to external events, but they are not meant to govern our actions. The Stoics emphasize that we should not be slaves to our emotions. Instead, we should acknowledge them, understand their source, and choose how to respond. Emotions like anger, jealousy, or fear can cloud our judgment and lead us to make impulsive decisions that harm relationships. Emotional resilience, then, is about developing the ability to detach from these emotions and act according to reason, not reactive feelings. The Stoics teach that it's not the external circumstances that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This principle is essential in relationships, where we often face situations that trigger emotional reactions. By practicing emotional resilience, we can learn to assess the situation with clarity and respond in a way that aligns with our values, rather than letting our emotions control us. Responding, not reacting. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our own responses. This principle is crucial in relationships, where it's easy to fall into patterns of reaction. For example, if your partner says something hurtful or disagrees with you, your immediate instinct might be to respond defensively or with anger. However, emotional resilience allows you to pause and choose a more thoughtful, constructive response. The Stoic practice of pausing before reacting is a powerful tool in maintaining emotional balance. Instead of reacting impulsively, you take a moment to assess the situation, reflect on your values, and decide on the best course of action. This moment of pause is a demonstration of emotional strength and resilience, as it allows you to act with intention rather than being driven by fleeting emotions. Viewing challenges as opportunities for growth. Every challenge in a relationship offers an opportunity for growth, and Stoics view adversity as a valuable teacher. Conflict, miscommunication, or tension can all seem like setbacks, but in reality, they are chances to strengthen emotional resilience. When we approach these challenges with a mindset of growth, we shift our perspective from victimhood to empowerment. Stoicism teaches us that we are responsible for how we interpret and respond to life's challenges. In relationships, this means choosing to view difficult moments not as personal attacks, but as opportunities to improve ourselves and deepen our understanding. By framing challenges in this way, we build the emotional resilience needed to face them with composure and resolve. The importance of self-reflection. Self-reflection is a critical aspect of Stoicism and a key practice for cultivating emotional resilience. In relationships, it's easy to blame the other person for misunderstandings or emotional discomfort. However, the Stoic approach encourages us to look inward, to reflect on our own role in the situation, and to ask ourselves, what can I learn from this experience? How can I grow from it? When we engage in self-reflection, we shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. Instead of letting our emotions dictate our actions, we gain clarity on what truly matters and how we can handle difficult situations with grace. This practice strengthens our emotional resilience, as it enables us to respond to challenges in a thoughtful, intentional way. Letting go of control. A significant aspect of emotional resilience is learning to let go of the need to control everything. In relationships, we cannot control our partner's actions, beliefs, or feelings. Attempting to control the outcome of every situation can lead to frustration, resentment, and emotional turmoil. Stoicism teaches us to accept that some things are beyond our control, and that peace comes from accepting life as it unfolds. When we let go of the desire to control our partner or the relationship, we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional stress. Instead of trying to change the other person, we focus on changing ourselves, on improving our responses, our understanding, and our behavior. This shift in perspective leads to greater emotional resilience and a deeper sense of inner peace in relationships. Practicing empathy and compassion. Emotional resilience is not just about managing our own emotions, it also involves being sensitive to the emotions of others. In relationships, emotional resilience is enhanced when we approach our partner with empathy and compassion. Understanding that your partner may be dealing with their own struggles, triggers, and emotions helps to create a more resilient and supportive dynamic. By practicing empathy, we are better able to respond to our partner's emotional needs without becoming overwhelmed by their emotions. Compassion allows us to support our partner through their challenges while maintaining our own emotional equilibrium. This creates a balance in the relationship, where both partners feel heard, understood, and supported. Building long-term resilience in relationships. Emotional resilience in relationships is not something that happens overnight. It requires consistent effort, self-awareness, and practice. The Stoic mindset encourages us to continually work on our inner strength and character, which will naturally translate into stronger, more resilient relationships. Over time, as we strengthen our ability to respond thoughtfully and maintain emotional balance, we build a foundation of trust, mutual respect, and deep connection. By incorporating the Stoic principles of emotional resilience into our relationships, we are better equipped to navigate the inevitable challenges that arise and maintain a sense of peace, even in the face of adversity. With practice, emotional resilience becomes an integral part of how we engage in relationships, creating lasting bonds that are grounded in strength, mutual understanding, and love. Embrace virtue as the foundation of relationships. In Stoic philosophy, virtue is the highest good and the foundation of a fulfilling life. It is through virtue, living according to wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, that we cultivate the qualities necessary to build strong and meaningful relationships. Relationships thrive when both partners are committed to virtuous living, not only for the sake of personal growth but also for the health and longevity of the relationship itself. What is virtue in Stoicism? Virtue, according to the Stoics, is living in accordance with reason and nature, acting with moral integrity, and striving to be the best version of oneself. For Stoics, virtue encompasses four cardinal values. Wisdom, the ability to make sound decisions; courage, the strength to act in alignment with one's values; justice, fairness and kindness in all actions; and temperance, self-control and moderation in desires. These values are not just theoretical concepts but practical guides for daily life. In relationships, embracing virtue means acting with kindness, fairness, and respect toward your partner. It means choosing to make decisions that align with your highest values, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. When both partners practice virtue, the relationship becomes a space for mutual growth and support, as both individuals are dedicated to acting with integrity and wisdom. The role of wisdom in relationships. Wisdom is the ability to make informed, thoughtful decisions. In relationships, wisdom allows us to navigate difficult situations with clarity and discernment. It helps us understand the true nature of our partner, avoid unnecessary conflict, and make decisions that are in the best interest of both individuals. When we approach relationships with wisdom, we are less likely to be swayed by fleeting emotions or external pressures and more likely to act in alignment with our long-term goals and values. In practice, wisdom in relationships might look like knowing when to have an honest conversation, when to offer support, and when to step back and allow space for growth. It involves being aware of both your own needs and your partner's needs and finding ways to create balance and harmony between the two. Courage to be vulnerable. Courage is another essential virtue that plays a key role in building deep, meaningful relationships. In Stoicism, courage is not just about facing physical challenges but also about being brave enough to face emotional truths and take risks. In relationships, this means having the courage to be vulnerable, to express your true thoughts and feelings, and to confront difficult issues rather than avoiding them. Vulnerability in relationships is often misunderstood as weakness, but in Stoic terms, it is an act of courage. To be vulnerable is to expose oneself to the possibility of hurt or disappointment, yet it is through this openness that true connection and intimacy are built. By embracing vulnerability, we allow ourselves to form deeper emotional bonds with our partner, based on trust and authenticity. Justice in love and respect. Justice, in Stoic philosophy, is about fairness, honesty, and respect. In relationships, justice means treating your partner with dignity, ensuring that their needs and feelings are considered just as much as your own. It means practicing empathy, listening actively, and making sure that both individuals feel valued and heard. Justice in relationships also requires us to be honest, even when it's difficult. It's about holding ourselves accountable for our actions and being transparent with our partner. If something is bothering us, we must have the courage to address it directly, rather than letting resentment build. Practicing justice means ensuring that both partners feel equally respected and valued, creating a foundation of trust that is essential for the longevity of the relationship. Temperance in desire and boundaries. Temperance, the virtue of moderation, is crucial in relationships. In Stoicism, temperance is about controlling our desires and not allowing them to control us. This applies to relationships in the form of respecting boundaries, maintaining personal space, and avoiding unhealthy attachments or dependencies. In a romantic relationship, for example, temperance might mean recognizing when you're placing unrealistic expectations on your partner or when you're relying too heavily on them for emotional fulfillment. It's about striking a balance between giving and receiving, ensuring that both individuals in the relationship maintain their sense of individuality and independence. Temperance helps prevent the relationship from becoming overly demanding or suffocating, allowing both partners to grow and thrive within the connection. Living in alignment with virtue creates lasting connections. When we embrace virtue in our relationships, we create a foundation built on strength, trust, and mutual respect. Relationships that are grounded in virtue are more resilient to challenges because they are rooted in something deeper than mere emotions or temporary circumstances. Virtue ensures that both partners are committed to acting with integrity and wisdom, even when the relationship faces difficulties. A relationship built on virtue is one where both individuals are constantly striving to improve themselves, not just for their own benefit but for the benefit of the partnership. It is a relationship that encourages growth, supports individual development, and fosters a sense of mutual respect and admiration. By living in alignment with virtue, we not only improve the quality of our relationships but also cultivate a deeper sense of inner fulfillment and peace. Conclusion and outro. The Stoic path to lasting relationships. In conclusion, the Stoic approach to relationships offers us timeless wisdom for creating deep, meaningful connections that stand the test of time. By focusing on self-control, emotional resilience, virtue, and mindfulness, we can approach relationships not as a source of external validation but as an opportunity for mutual growth, understanding, and peace. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control others, we can always control our responses, our choices, and our commitment to living virtuously. As you continue on your journey of personal growth and relationship building, remember that the key to success lies in staying true to your values, being patient with yourself and others, and embracing challenges as opportunities to strengthen your character. True love, true connection, and true happiness come not from external circumstances but from the strength, wisdom, and virtue we cultivate within ourselves. If you found these insights helpful, be sure to subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset for more practical wisdom drawn from Stoic philosophy and personal growth strategies. Drop a comment below. Let us know how you apply Stoic principles in your relationships. And don't forget, Hope We Give is here to offer support to those who need it, empowering you to live a life of resilience and connection. Until next time, keep embracing the Stoic path, and remember, in building relationships, as in life, it's not about what happens to us, but how we choose to respond. Stay strong, stay virtuous, and keep evolving.